I'm talking today to Gaurav Singh, who is the Chief Digital Officer of the Scan Group. Gaurav, which brands in Africa are actually making some engagement with digital media?
I think the biggest ones are in the telecom area, where they are doing remarkable work, and obvious reasons being they have their own product, which is the data. So they have obvious reasons to invest behind digital. Some of the work in the East African market, so to say, if you pick it up, Safaricom is doing exceptional work both in the mobile area and in the social area. So if I pick up Safaricom in East Africa, so to start with, social, they are the top brands or the top 3 brands for the entire last year when it comes to most socially devoted brand globally. So for a brand from Kenya with 40 million people to be a global player in to show how customer services are done, or to be a socially devoted brand, it's quite a feat. It's quite of an achievement.
You were also saying banks are beginning to get into.
Absolutely. Some of the banks, largely not just the bank, but the entire vertical itself, which is the BFSI. Recently we saw Standard Chartered doing quite a bit of investment and running a campaign which is purely focused on digital. There were hardly any spends when it comes to Airtel medium, but they have again a direct benefit coming from digital. First thing being, how can you acquire customers at the least cost possible, and at the same time, how do you
drive a fairly sharp end focus there?
Absolutely. So acquiring customers, and then how can you stay in touch with the customers at the least cost possible? So one aspect is reduce the cost of contact, and the second biggest aspect is how can you stay in touch with your existing customer base at the least cost possible. So 2 big things, and obviously the banks have their own product, which is the mobile banking. And the banking, if you want to do on mobile, the cost of serving the customer is the least possible with the different channels that's available, like branches and even the web. Mobile is the cheapest form.
And you were talking about FMCG companies like P&G.
Yes, FMCG is still relatively smaller. If I have to put a number to it, I think it's between 1 or 2%, depending upon which market you are. They are investing that kind of funds in the digital medium. P&G has been very interesting. Again, in East Africa, this happened during the last year Olympics when the proud sponsor of Mom campaign they were running. The whole thing, the way they localized the campaign to resonate with the public at the ground was amazing. The simple application was built. The application's only motive was to connect the siblings together along with the mom. So mom could be in Turkana region, or the son could be in Germany, or the daughter could be somewhere else in the world. The application
diasporas.
Yeah. Not just diaspora, but even within the country itself. So the family is living up country and the kids have come to the city to work. So the platform allowed them to connect with each other and speak to the mom and say thank you. So instead of just campaign, just showing broad visuals and say thank you ma'am, they actually did something meaningful to deliver the same point that they were trying to deliver.
And how many people were involved in that?
I would say more than 1,000 odd people, connecting about 4 odd people, so about 4,400 people globally connected and talking to each other. Quite a successful campaign, so to say.
And typically a lot of these campaigns do have a very social element to them. You were describing the campaign for the Paraplegic Association of Kenya.
So social is emerging in a very interesting manner in, I would say, entire sub-Saharan Africa, and specifically the East African market, which happens to be in the top 5 globally. There's a statistic I saw a while ago. About 6 hours monthly is the time that people spend on social channels here. So just to talk further on that point, there is a campaign that was done in Kenya just to support KPO, which is Kenya Paraplegic Organization. So there is no facility as a rehab center that exists in Eastern and Central Africa, and that's for sizable population. So KPO, that campaign allowed them to generate funds in terms of crowdfunding, but the idea was very simple in terms of identifying one of the members at KPO and getting that person to wheel all the way from Nairobi to Cape Town, which is
because there's no facilities, there's no rehab facility.
No rehab facility. Yeah. But what was interesting was how they leveraged social in terms of creating awareness, So this guy, Zach, his name, was wheeling from Nairobi, and each and every town that he went to, the schools were shut down, the kids were lining up just to hug him and just give him the money. People were stopping their cars on the highway just to cut the check. What was amazing was BBC camera crew was sitting behind him and recording. So he has his own entourage moving as he was driving. As he was wheeling from Nairobi, he only wheeled about 150 kilometers before it was pulled down for different reasons. But in about 25 days, the campaign generated about $700,000 from Kenya itself. So that's one of the big achievements from a
Had a
social
broader impact on how people in that category were seen.
The fundamental shift was not that we were able to collect funds.
Yeah.
The shift was in terms of the perspective people changed towards paraplegics. So traditionally, the paraplegics, even in the society point of view, if you look at Kenya, they are the outcast. They've been thrown out of the society, and things have not changed drastically since then. It's just that a disabled person would be right in front of you and you will just see through him. What has happened since then is that the organization has started standing up and saying paraplegics or handicaps are no less a man. And to start with, I mean, we actually opened up offices saying, doesn't matter, we have the ramp and we have the facility for anyone who is handicapped. We're more than happy to hire till the time you can fit into a digital agency from a talent point of view. And that shift is happening now in terms of people acknowledging that they have the talent, we can hire them. The fact that Zach can wheel 160 kilometers from Nairobi was a big achievement in itself.